How valuable would you say he's been?
Oh, extremely valuable. Go back to early in the season, and this, by the way, is another indication of how far the team has come along. The Giants were 4 of 16 in the red zone as we try to one up one another in terms of statistical analysis here on this program. Okay. You guys have your stats. I got plenty of stats to throw your way, too. So 4 of 16. Well, if you get into the red zone 16 times, guys, just think about this. You only walk away with 4 touchdowns. It means you're kicking a lot of field goals, right? And when you know Gano has been automatic, at least you're walking away with something. And they weren't always walking away with something. Remember, a lot of those missed opportunities were because of Daniel Jones and Giants turnovers. But the fact that they were struggling in the red zone, you at least knew, okay, we'll salvage it. We'll walk away with 3 points. Now, over the last few games, they are all of a sudden 10 of 14 in the red zone. So the good news is they're punching it in more often than not. But Gano, regardless of the distance, the confidence that Judge has, he's not going to hesitate. If it's a 50-yard field goal attempt, he'll consider it. Remember, Gano's one miss was against the Chicago Bears. That was it. That's his lone mishap. That's it. So you sending him out, more often than not, you feel good about your chances of walking away with points. So, yeah, when you ask me about, well, where would I rank Graham Gano? I would say this. Graham Gano has been a weapon for the New York Giants, okay? He's not a kicker. He's not a special teams player. He's a weapon when you have that type of reliability. And that had not always been the case, of course, with Aldrick Rosas, who was their previous kicker. There was that Pro Bowl year for him, and then the follow-up year was not as consistent, was not as impressive. They're not considering that a doubt in their mind. Now, it's interesting we're talking about how great Gano was because, unfortunately, the Giants are coming off by far their worst special teams performance. Now, Gano hit 4 field goals, so he doesn't necessarily get thrown into the mix, but from a coverage standpoint, from a kicking standpoint, in terms of feeding it to the opposing team, whether it be punting or kickoffs, it was a very rough go. And by the way, Jabal Sheard doesn't make that sack and Leonard Williams doesn't recover it. We may be talking about the result of this last game very differently, guys, okay? It was by the chinny chin chin that the Giants won this game. And listen, that's defined their season. Every game, it seems, comes down to the final play. Every game seems to be decided by a few points. And this circles back to your question, Hank. When a game is decided by 2 points here, 3 points here, 1 point here, a missed field goal versus a converted field goal, that's the difference in the ball game. So Gano's right up there. You want to talk about Blake Martinez's arrival, James Bradbury's arrival, Logan Ryan's arrival. You throw Gano in terms of the top 5 acquisitions this offseason, Graham Gano has to be in that conversation of the guys that they brought in.